Ross Tweddle and Fraser Porter back for news video 2 of this Money in the Bank 2023 Saturday. We're coming to you from close to the O2 Arena, but not at the O2 Arena, because we started filming at the O2 Arena, but they told us to bugger off. So that's why we're stood here in this bus station, up the bus stations. But we do have a potential spoiler for tonight's Money in the Bank show that has nothing, there was nothing implied on last night's SmackDown, because it involves Charlotte Flair, who of course took on Asuka for the women's title. She was unsuccessful in her efforts, wasn't she, Fraser?
It was a little bit of a strange one. It was a DQ finish.
No, it's fine though, because Bianca Belair is like 97 Bret Hart at the moment. Like, he's pissed off with the establishment and he's taking them down.
Okay,
she's
fair.
taking them down.
She's taking them down,
like Bret did.
But yes, it does involve Charlotte Flair, with PW Insider reporting that there is a pitch doing the rounds backstage for Charlotte Flair to replace Zelina Vega in tonight's Money in the Bank ladder match. As Ross said there, nothing was sort of indicated about that on last night's SmackDown. There was nothing filmed, definitely not in front of the live audience. Maybe they'll film something backstage, but it wasn't shown to the live audience for sure. But yeah, it's a typical sort of Charlotte Flair return storyline, right? If it does happen. Just
benefits her and just buries everybody else. But it would be really unfair on Zelina Vega, who, if you're interested, she was part of the dark match before the show and then accompanied Rey Mysterio to the ring for the dark match after the show. Yep. That's all she did last night. She went through the 3 hours of hell in a sauna that was the press junket on Friday morning. So to take her off the match after putting her through that, I think would be wholly unfair.
It's really unfair. She seems to be very, very excited about the whole appearing in Money in the Bank. And we've got the LWO Santos Escobar in the men's Money in the Bank, Zelina Vega and the women's Money in the Bank. They were hyping up the chance of possibly having a Mr. and Mrs. Money in the Bank from LWO. But it would be really unfair for Charlotte Flair to walk in and get straight into that match.
But it would be typical for her, as we say. Moving on to another bell end, Logan Paul. I mean, that's a bit harsh on Charlotte. She's a heel, I guess, kind of.
Yeah, her character is that of a bell end. So
yeah.
I think you're fair to say that. But
sorry, Charlotte, yeah.
The bell end is Logan Paul. A report from Fightful Select has revealed that WWE is currently discussing a feud between him and the Brawling Brutes.
Yeah, it's been a little bit of a back and forth between Logan Paul and Butch in recent times. We saw Butch appear on Monday Night Raw, running down to the ring to take on the other Money in the Bank, the men's ladder match combatants. And Logan Paul literally shouted, "Who the hell is that?"
Yeah.
So I guess that's the genesis of the feud. Again, Butch took down Logan Paul on last night's SmackDown, as we're here on Saturday morning. So the genesis is there for a nice little rivalry.
Yeah, I'm interested to see if it's Logan Paul taking on the entire Brutes, because you'd think he'd maybe want some backup in there against Sheamus and Ridge Holland as well. So maybe would that lead to Jake and KSI?
Or Jake and his little two friends on his podcast.
His other two mates.
The bearded guy who looks like X-Pac and the other bearded guy.
That's a great way to describe them. Yeah. But they have been doing this sort of like, he's teasing something with them. We saw them on the Grayson Waller effect. Butch straight away attacking Logan Paul. So I would have thought they'd set up something with Ricochet in tonight's Money in the Bank ladder match, but I'm quite happy.
That's what they were hinting at on Raw this week. Just they were hinting at maybe a big spot happening between. This is just on commentary during whatever Ricochet was doing that against Nakamura, wasn't he?
Yeah.
During that match, just hitting on commentary that Logan Paul and Ricochet could do something big and fantastic, like they did at the Rumble, where they bounced off the ropes and collided in midair like a pair of pigeons.
They're very, very talented, the both of them, and I'm excited to see what they do tonight. But I'm excited to maybe see Pete Dunne, maybe we'll see that. Maybe?
I guess that is the best thing. It's going to be a featured spot for Butch, you would think. And in the initial stage, because there could be a case where they work their way up to a Logan Paul versus Sheamus match after going through Butch, after going through Ridge the Fridge, who looks like he's getting a sort of maybe US title picture in his.
Like he's by dropkick.
He did, kind of. But his neck was weak in Fraser.
That's true.
We discussed that. He got
earlier.
spiked in the neck. We got some backstage news from Forbidden Door last weekend, which was reported last week, but also found up by Ravy Davey Meltzer.
He did indeed. In the Observer this week, he said there was no incidents backstage at AEW Forbidden Door, and as previously reported, CM Punk and the Elite were kept separate throughout the arena. In fact, there was apparently no interactions between them at all. They didn't see each other. And according to the report, those who had spoken to the Observer said that they'd heard nothing but good things about the show backstage, and they were all very, very pleased with how hot that crowd was. And I'm not surprised the amount of insane matches, like Will Ospreay versus Kenny Omega getting 6 stars. Not surprised.
No, it was a pretty decent match by a couple of jam-up guys.
Yeah, pretty decent.
There's some analysis for you. But you got to think that can't continue for much longer, them not interacting at all, because you're obviously going to meet up 5 times a year at least.
Yeah.
Got to be more events, I guess, where they'll be in the same place at the same time. Surely this had to have been sorted out before making a show all around one of the people on one side of this argument.
You would kind of hope that eventually they will move their locker rooms closer and closer together, and eventually we might see a feud happen. I don't know. I think we'll maybe see it down the road.
Speaking of maybe seeing things, Bailey has commented on Mercedes money, hasn't she? I called you Bailey there.
I'm not Bailey, but we did chat to Bailey yesterday, as did the Gorilla Position at the media junket. And they asked her about Mercedes Moné, and she said, about a possible return, she said, I beg her every day. It doesn't matter where it is, it doesn't matter how it happens. I would love to one day step back in the ring with her. I would love whether it's teaming with her, whether it's against her, but right now I just want whatever happiness she needs, she feels. Whatever she needs, accomplish her dreams, accomplish her goals. I'm just happy to see her happy. And I think that's sort of the general consensus in the world of wrestling. Unfortunately, she's out with an injury at the moment, but she's been doing some pretty cool things in the world of New Japan and Stardom, and I feel like we'll eventually see her in AEW.
Plays a ukulele now in her promos, doesn't she? Sings little songs about it, people in
Yeah.
What are you laughing at? She plays a ukulele.
She does play,
She's a talented lady.
Yeah, she is.
A jam-up guy as well. But whatever she does to make her happy, that's the most important thing, isn't it? She's doing good things with New Japan. You mind things what might have been at Forbidden Door if she didn't get that injury in the match with Willow Nightingale. Yeah. But credit to Mercedes Moné once again for calling that finish on the fly.
Do you think
giving Willow the win?
Do you think we'll see her back in the WWE like Bailey's maybe suggested?
No.
No?
Well, money talks, doesn't it? I guess at the end of the day.
That's the thing. She'll come back in as a bigger star. She's now in films and TV, so I wouldn't be surprised if WWE goes, okay, we'll bring you back and you can have that match with
That
Bayley.
could have a knock-on effect, to be fair, if the access to doing movies and TV is then restricted by the company, which I know it wasn't when she was there, like towards the end of her tenure there, but if it was to be restricted, I guess that could have a knock-on effect.
Yeah, true. But I would love to see her back. I would really would.
Yeah, and we end news, and this news video, God, I'm still hungover stood here right now, but Jim Ross obviously had that horrible fall recently, had the big black eye. He appeared on Collision. Was it Forbidden Door?
He was on Collision, on the debut episode of Collision in Chicago. He wasn't in the best state, and he admitted that after the show. I think he speculated that he's maybe suffered a concussion, but it was a shame to hear how he was feeling. But it doesn't look like we're going to see him back on AEW TV anytime soon. The Wrestling Observer reporting that he's not set to return to broadcast at the moment.
Just when he's ready, have him back. I mean, if have him back at all, I think he's far better used in that backstage interview role where his voice has just got such great authority about it, because he is still Jim Ross. But when he's putting together like a 3-hour commentary stint behind the announce table or a 2-hour stint behind it, it's just not what it was, which is it's got to happen to all of us. We're all going to fall off the hill, even if we get up the hill to start with. That's where I stood here, not at the O2, but just in the O2 bus station. Yep. But is this our pinnacle in life, Fraser?
Absolutely. But AEW's roster depth, especially in the commentary team, is so deep right now that they could. It's unfortunate, but there is other people that should be in that spot right now, other than JR. But hopefully, he does make a speedy recovery from the injury that he suffered, and he'll be back doing his backstage interview role very soon. When he's ready.
Give him a cup of tea and a good sit down. Anyway, that's it for the 2 news videos this Money in the Bank Saturday. If you're around the O2 area this afternoon, you might see us. Just come up to us and say hello, and we'll get some cameras shoved in your faces.
Content.
And make some shorts with your hot wrestling takes getting seen in front of the world. So there we go. Plug the rest of the stuff in video 1. You know what's coming out on this pay-per-view weekend. We do the same every time. So we'll wrap that up there. I've been Ross, joined by Bailey, and we'll see you later.